Shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Oh, man. Family, greetings. My Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you are of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you are grafted in under the blood of Yahusha HaMashiach. This is a time, family. This is a time of excitement. Oh, family. I'll give you all a few minutes to come on in here. I'm gonna say my shaloms to Donna Hall, Mr. The Original School, El Marie, C. Rochelle, Stephanie McMillan, Rahama A, Natasha P, Faithful Sister and Yah T. Spencer, Woman of God, Eric Tinsley, and Man of Yah, Jimmy Loom, Stacy Sharp, Keith Williams, Shalom Brother, G. Gabriel Aluya, Anita Williams, and Arrow Spike. So I'm giving you all a few minutes. Here we go. B1 Queensland, Sheila Jackson, Jessica Figures, Shalom family, Yark Miel, Shalom. Brother Yummy up next. Pensy, TTHI, Shalom. Soulfully sowing seeds, Shalom. Susan Gibney, Truth Hurts, Deborah Ham. Look, come on in here because it's going to be I'm not going to say it's going to be a good one because we already see how this thing is shaping on up. We already see how this thing is moving on in. So Shalom, Melinda, 1973, Deborah Newsom, Eric Frederick, Ivy Lamar, Cindy Carr, Sister Pam, Shalom. Get you all in here. It's going to grow rapidly. Sorry if I'm not going to be able to say shalom to all you all because y'all are coming on in here because we done seen some things. And, I wasn't going to speak on it right away. If you all had caught me, I was on We Woke Now with Pastor Kelly discussing this thing yesterday. Patrice Guerra Driggs, Shalom. Shanna Stewart, Shalom. Naomi Levi, Shalom. Jolene Speak, Shalom. Ninja Firewolf, Shalom. James Nolan, Shalom. And Mina Miller, Shalom. All right. So, fam, I got 76 folks on in here. Y'all came on in here because it was popping. It was popping, and you knew what Michelle Pinckney, Shalom. You knew what was happening from the get-go, and I wanted to kind of get a little, give you a little bit more of understanding just with my my personal thoughts and opinions. Tana Rich, Shalom. And you know what? Yes, Yarek Miel. Yes, it was an orchestrated manner. And that's something that we had discussed on We Woke Now. And you can tell the orchestration because here's the thing. Remember, 6-7 months ago, we saw the same thing and we saw how that was handled. Okay. They weren't waiting for orders. It was shoot first, do my thing first and then ask for forgiveness later on. Shalom, Timothy Prince. And yeah, it was staged. It was staged. And yeah. There's no rubber bullets being fired. Exactly. When we do it, the military does show up. And you got to understand, see, the military didn't show up. Nobody really showed up. Shalom, Ms. B. Nobody showed up. And you could see from the images, even right now, if you're watching me or listening to me and you're watching CNN, they're showing the images of these folks just doing a melee through Capitol Hill. And let me tell you, Capitol Hill is one of the most secure places in the world. And you're not going to have many folks intruding into there, especially when they already knew that that all this stuff was heightened. Shalom, Elephant Man Podcast Network, and we already know that heightened posture was something that people were already. It was a mosh pit. My man had the little bison suit on with the horns. I don't know if he just got his store outfit on from Halloween and just threw it on to protest. And that's the thing. You have the fist fighting, you have the melee going on. It was an actual attack. And the thing is, we have to look at those things in terms of the message that it sends, not to us. You can't. You can't do that. You can't do that. And it was funny. It was funny as I was watching this yesterday. I was talking to Brother Christian, Truth Ministries, and I said, Brother Christian, are you watching this? He said, no, I'm driving. I said, oh man. I said, these folks done stormed into Capitol Hill. And not only did they storm into Capitol Hill, I'm seeing all this stuff on CNN. I'm trying to click through on CNN and Fox, get the different perspectives. And I said, oh man, here it is. Shalom, Joy 31608 and Candace Love, shalom. And I said, that can't be right. And so I'm looking and I said, oh yeah, that is right. And they just conglomerated. And it was taken over. It was literally taken over by all sides. And I said, look, they're not going to do anything because here's the problem. This is a conundrum that the police are in. They're trying to provide law and order to white folks, and it just doesn't work. And I said, they're going to expose why there are two Americas. It's an America for them and an America for us. Shalom, Kenneth Wilkerson. And I'm going to get up into this. Yeah. Bastille Day 2.0 up next. You are absolutely correct. Because these folks had the audacity to have the lynching platform, the gallows platform, set up outside of Capitol Hill. And you're right. And they did turn on each other. So, that was the problem. They didn't know how to respond to that because, for us, it's simple, man. That dude is a darker hue. That woman's a darker hue. Look, I'll put some shots on in there and everything is a justified action because, hey, they done ran up into this place. Guess how much signs and placards and every little thing of a warning, this is government property, trespassing on this will be met with forceful actions up to deadly. How many folks have been up in D.C.? Y'all seen that? Y'all seen the things. You can look at a government installation building. This is government property. If you trespass against this property, there is deadly force is authorized. And I said, oh my goodness. I said, they're letting these folks on in here because you saw the brother that he was trying to stop him, talking to him. And then the person just kept going forward. He brought out his little nightstick, fumbled his little nightstick, had to pick it up off the ground. I said, "Oh man, this dude done lost his marbles." Started backing up. He just runs up the steps. Oh man, I'm out of here. Man, they don't pay me that much. I'm not going to be on this massacre list because, I'm the first one. You can tell, folks, that black folks that have been working there, they're starting to understand. Man, they don't care about me. They don't care about me. These folks are like, look, I know who y'all are. I think yeah, it was, man, that thing was funny. That dude done pulled out the stick, fumbled the stick. Don't come any closer. Don't come. Ah! Oh man, I could just think about that. That was some Uncle Ruckus's moments on in there. Hey, I don't know what y'all are doing. Should I be hitting y'all or defending y'all? Dear white Jesus, how do I get out of this? Oh, that would have been a Boondocks show for the ages on that one. Because, a lot of those that were there, they're there under the pretenses and the auspices of the cooning and buffooning. And, they saw that earlier. And it's like, well, everything is all good. But see, the problem is that they got stuck in the middle of that altercation. And they didn't know how to really handle it. The white saviors were fighting. And for that, it's a big one. Melinda, shalom. I appreciate it. Yeah, and it was the provocation that you saw from Trump. Trump he was provocative. And I said, oh, this is going to lead to trouble. This is going to lead to trouble. And I said, no, this ain't going to lead to that John Lewis, good ball. None of that. None of that John Lewis talk. These folks went on in there and they were there to get blood. And like I had said, the what it was, honestly, let's just really look at the facts in an objective manner. I like to clown around. I like to joke, because you know what that does? That gets you all in a your brain actually functions more when it is more engaged, and you get engaged by laughter and jokes. The problem is when you do those little speeches and those little seminars and things of that nature, white folks' jokes aren't very funny, and then they just put you to sleep. That's always been the case with me. It's like, oh, I'm going to a seminar. They go, okay, well, thank you. Early in the morning, I went to get donuts, and I asked for 12 dozen, and I forgot to say, I want to pick them up, and they gave me variety, and I got jelly and coconut. Oh, it was awful. Ha, ha, ha. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so I know y'all been through that. And it's like, yeah, you done lost me. All right, how long? And then all you do is just look at your watch. All right, man, I got to stay awake for 45 minutes. For 3 hours. And that's how things have gone. So I'm engaging you all, how you all really are supposed to be engaged, just like this. And it's an engagement because here's the thing. We're seeing what we had said coming to pass. And again, it doesn't matter if you're UA, it doesn't matter what your leanings are in terms of, how you're going to say Yahuwah or Yahusha or Yahushua. For me, that's a moot point, because honestly, we have to start understanding how to live and survive, because you have to understand Yesterday's hallmark was the challenge being issued for the rest of the nation. And if you didn't see what had happened, not just in DC, you saw what the rest of the nation's response was too. And guess what they did? These folks, they met the rallying cry and they went to at least a dozen or more state capitals. They went to Texas. They went to Oklahoma. They went to Kansas. They went to Arkansas. They went to Georgia and Alabama, all these places. And you have to understand what they're showing is I am ready to fight. I am ready to lay down my life and defend this Constitution, and listen, it's not, let me explain this thing to you. I'm ready to lay down my life and defend white supremacy at all cost, because this is where we have made this is the end, the impasse. This is where the road stops. This is that tread on me moment. And before I came on in here, I was looking at some of the stuff. I was clicking through the news channels, MSNBC and things of that nature. And it was interesting because I believe on CNN or MSNBC, one of those, they were saying this. This is what these folks were saying. They said, look, they had no choice. It has come to this. For them, this is the valley of decision. Yes, Rami, yeah. This was their declaration of war. Yeah, and then they're going to turn it against us. That's exactly what it is. And I'm going to explain to you how that process is going to go. And so let me break this down and not tangent as much. And let me start getting this. We would call this schedule, this cycle together. And there is a cycle of war that is attached to this, because when you go through war, and as I was explaining and had explained on We Woke Now, the cycle of war starts at this. It starts at terrorism. Okay. And see, the problem that we have in the United States is that we never really considered what terrorism and terrorist acts were. And see, you didn't actually understand a lot of this stuff that was happening to us, especially with these car stops, these interactions with the police, all these other different entities, between us and them, was always a form of terrorism. And we had always said, look, it's terrorism. And so do you understand now? Here's actually the legal definitions of what these countries are saying. You understand why they're going crazy? Because the white folks that didn't engage are going crazy because they understand, oh, there's a price that's actually going to be paid, because the problem that have resulted is that the country had now seen the first steps of war going from an incipient, basically, something that's there, but it's can't really, exactly. It's the propaganda then turned terrorism. But see, the propaganda was, look, we're allowed to do these things to these black folks on over here. See, yeah, they may whine and complain, and we may do something symbolic, quote unquote symbolic, but it doesn't really matter, because see, our terrorism can continue unchecked. So as they had lost that election, remember, they were still going crazy, but they weren't going crazy towards us anymore. Excuse me. They started to go crazy towards their own. And you saw that playing out with the mass interactions, with all these other different things that were still happening in the background. And shout out to CJ Hito. He brings it on out to the forefront with these folks, doing that type of excuse me, that propaganda and those maneuvers. And I had to, and I'm sitting there and I'm writing these notes, I'm taking these notes. I said, okay, so now it's the propaganda, just like what was said by up next. And then from the propaganda, we get to terrorism. And that was still the overt terrorism that was happening. Because remember, I said this back when my channel was first coming up and springing up. We're starting to see that the nations are seeing this, and the nations are trying to find out how can they respond to this. See, the nations, thank you, Susan Gibney, I appreciate it. The nations want us, or is trying to say, okay, how do we, quote unquote, get on in there with a righteous cause to, destabilize and further destabilize? Because the main focus of any type of country and any type of country's involvement, because they learned this from the United States, they've taken notes through the United States. Oh, we get involved. We say that we're trying to help with, quote unquote, what? Peace operations, right? Peace operations. And then from there, that's when we get a chance to start moving in and start developing how we are going to, get to where we need to get to. And that's ultimately having the resources of that nation now being co-opted and funneled through and into those nations that have, been brought into, quote unquote, be peacekeepers. And so, that's the scary thing, because here's the problem. White folks understand that, they see that, and they're like, oh my goodness, they're going to do the same thing to us. We see the buildup coming. But the problem that they've had was that in their rage, yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that stuff. Everything's been exposed. It's been exposed. But here's the thing. The nations are taking notes. And that's where they're seeing, oh, okay, we have this Africa Free Trade Continental, Free Trade Agreement, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, the AFCFTA. You have all these different inner workings now, because I told you, look, we saw the thing happening with Brexit. And guess what? Not even a week later, that that now you have internal strife, you have internal conflict. That's because, family, if you didn't understand what was happening, the United States is realizing it has lost its power on the resources. And that means that the resources that's coming in is going to start being stymied even more. So if you have resources that's going to start being stymied even more, then you have to create the narrative of, oh, well, you know what? It would be okay if there wasn't all this internal conflict, if it wasn't all this internal strife. So now you're starting to see, now here comes in about another week or two, probably next week, because they're going to build this thing up real quick, grocery stores not being stocked. Okay, you're going to see different things that we were used to not being available, and that's going to be even more overt because of the trade and how that trade goes. Because now you have to start swinging things into the actual logistical pool of the nation, of the government enterprise, of the government resources, and that's the legislative, the military, which is the executive arm, and then all the judicial branches. So you're going to have your judges, your prosecutors, your police officers, and your lawmakers. They have to be fed and they have to be maintained. So everybody else, y'all better start cooking up some tree bark. Start boiling the dandelions down. because this is what you're starting to see take place. Now, the problem is this is very different than your traditional mindset of the application going to war, because now you're going to war in a context of national decline. And that national decline was through the coronavirus, which led through and continues to decimate this economy. So now, when you have people that have a bleak economic outlook, and you have folks that say, well, you want to know what? I don't really have anything to live for, because guess what? When will these jobs come back? How will these jobs come back? Well, we got Biden in office. And guess what? Biden kind of created this problem because all that stuff got shipped over to China. And that's exactly what they're going to do, ship the thing right back. So that's in their mind. That's their context of how they see this thing starting to roll downhill. So for them, and when they had witnessed it, see, out of their mouth, that's how their heart speaks. And their heart is of one accord. Look, we have to fight. And what I had said on Pastor Kelly's show yesterday, I said, you understand, and you have to understand this. Greetings, Brother Larry Carnell Bryce, Jennifer Bassett, Shalom, St. Moon, Shalom. I missed a lot of y'all. Forgive me, but I'm starting to go on in here. Look, even you saw this today. Once Trump put that word on out, it doesn't come back. He put it out there. He said it. And even when he was saying, I'm going to do the peaceful transition, but we're not going to let and allow them to steal this thing from us. We have to continue to fight. It's like, so what did he even do? He said, oh, Trump asked for peaceful. No, he didn't. Trump just said he doubled down on it. And yeah, exactly. It was the trigger. It was the tactical mind control. That's right. The textbook mind control tactic. Yes, Steve Rochelle, that's exactly right. And this is the thing. Oh my goodness. It was funny because I was on the live yesterday around this time at 10:40. And I said, let me hurry up and do this real quick because Yacoba had thrown something on, and I said, all right, I want to definitely listen to what he has to say. But I had said this. I think I had said this in Yacoba's live feed. I said, look, these folks would rather kill themselves. Do you hear me? These folks would rather kill themselves than pay us reparations. And I said, and that's exactly what you're seeing with the vaccination program going on right now. And now, lo and behold, when I said that, lo and behold, here it is. These folks are on out there going crazy. And they're going crazy because they know that there is a divine retribution coming. And see, this is where we need to be careful in terms of our engagement with them and how we engage. And just like I said, look, those folks that you see in the camps, all right, not all the camps, but here's what I'm going to say. A majority of those camps are agents. You get into those camps, they're now going to start doing, and they're now going to start coalescing the way that the government meant them to be coalesced and arranged. Because all of a sudden, here you go. All right, let's get on out there. And it's like, okay, that's not the time. Because you want to know why? They're going to try and look for somebody to blame. And there it is. But we already knew that's on cue, because here's the thing. We already have them revved up. We already have them programmed, because we've had that programming in for the 10 years. So instead of actually being a help, they become a snare. And we've already known that. We've already known that. There's the fruits. Do you want to see the fruits? There they are. They're going to get our behinds killed. They're there to get us targeted. You know, and that's where we're starting to see these things. Look, all you have to do right now is give everything time, and time exposes all. Time exposes all. And when you were understanding, this is how I understood. It was like, I don't know if that's really a fruit of the Spirit. I don't know if that's really the Holy Spirit or the Ruach HaKodesh. I don't know, And then here's the thing. We're seeing this. We're seeing it happen. But you have to understand now, trust me. Now, here's the problem with that. I said, oh, this is what they're going to try to do. They're going to say this. So thank you, Soulfully Sowing Seeds. So let me tell you this, family. Hear me and hear me now, because you're going to hear this. And this is what they're going to start trying to throw on out there. They're going to start to try and throw on out there, especially from the Trump side. Because remember, Trump never took reparations off the table. It was a tactical move. Remember that. Remember, like 6-7 months ago, he said, oh, that's something we have to look at. He never took it off the table. Because you want to know why? It was always going to be that back pocket, pull the card out technique and trick. Because guess what they want to now? And this is the thing for any type of revolution, especially here. Let's get back to history. Let's get back to the history books. Let's get back to why they love Crispus Attucks and Crispus Attucks' contribution, why they love, Black folks' contribution, because they understand that when we get involved in any type of conflict, we provide that extra oomph that they love to have. Oh, see, look, he's fighting. All right, let's join on in. Let's get going. And I would not be surprised. You're going to start seeing that right now. You'll start hearing this stuff in these channels right now. Hey, Trump is saying this. If we do this, the system's broken. Amazing how this is going to start to ramp up probably this afternoon. I'm not a Shalom. We woke now, Brian Dial. Shalom. And look, I'm they're gonna be like, man, Brother Karras, so what do you aspire something? No, I'm just telling you the obvious, because the obvious is whenever they want to have this 1776, they don't do it without any type of Black folks or Black support, because they know that they need that in order to win anything. So, all right, here we go. Let's do this bait and switch. Here it comes. Oh, it's coming. Family, it's coming. The bait and switch is on its way. Hey, let's hey, you know what? You know what they're going to do to you? And they're going to be so quick to extend all these historical facts and issues that was done to us through the Democratic Party, which we all know. And then they're going to try to say, well, here's this olive branch we're going to give you. You take up our cause, because we need you out there so you can save this nation. And, when you save this nation again, on the Civil War 2.0, we're definitely going to give you your reparations. We're definitely going to give you, all the stuff that you're asking for, because you see that the Democrats took that away. They take away everything. They took away your livelihoods. They took away your families. Oh, they'll be real keen. They'll be real keen to mimic everything that Jason Black, Professor Black Truth, and Tariq Nasheed says. Mr. Jeremiah Johnson, Grandmaster J, muster your troops, muster your folks, and then that's going to come too. Trust me, it's going to come too. Notice all these organizations and all these factions have already been set up, because this is what the design was. Oh yeah, see, all the tangible stuff is gonna start coming on up. Hey, if you do that, we're gonna get you tangibles. We're gonna get you tangibles. Look, don't that sound good? Come on, don't that sound good? Okay, well, you saw what we did. Well, I need you to do that to everywhere else. And it's like, oh my goodness, we see this thing coming. And this is where we have to be very careful, because let me tell you how this design was going. The terrorism and the terroristic threats is now getting into this insurgency factor, and we're starting to see this insurgency factor going on. Now, when the insurgency factor starts to coalesce into actual armed, sophisticated groups that's either for the government or against the government, that's what's going to show. That, look, I told you, and I think a lot of folks have been telling you. I know that Pastor Kelly's told you. I know that Minister Yacoba, Minister Teyu, and a lot of folks, especially Minister Dante, in terms of the financial preparation of Bitcoin and things of that nature. Look, if you don't have your money moved out, this is why Bitcoin is moving, because if you leave, you can still get access to your money as long as you have a computer terminal. You see what I'm saying? But if you have monies in these traditional systems right now, then guess what? If something were to fracture, if New York says, now we're going to stay here with the union, if Florida peels off, if all these folks start to fracture and splinter, how are you going to get your money with all these intrastate and interstate banks? How are you going to get to your accounts? You won't. See, the accounts will be frozen. The accounts will be suspended. They'll go into sort of an arbitrage within the World Trade Organization. And that's where you will start seeing a lot of this stuff start going crazy. But again, we're referencing a lot of the scriptures that we have seen. Look, the second Esdras 13. Which is basically Isaiah 49, which is basically Jeremiah 50 and 51, which is basically, all these different scriptures that tie on in to what's happening, because the calamity is going to be from within by them. Now, what is going to happen as we move on? Okay, let me just kind of give you my take as an analyst as we move on. Okay, the nations that are there right now, because all the nations are looking at this, because you have to understand DC. DC is the capital of the United States, which means that if you are in the capital of a particular nation, guess what that means? You also have ambassadors and other foreign dignitaries. And whenever there are ambassadors or foreign dignitaries in any particular country, there are always bilateral agreements. Thank you, Brother Larry Carnell Bryce. I appreciate it. Hallelujah. There are always bilateral agreements that will be put in place to rescue those dignitaries. So let me just show you how this game plan is going to work out. Okay, so you all can see it, so nobody can be like, oh, well, I didn't see that one coming. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what's going to happen, family? You're now starting to see the flex move, the reactionary moves that's going on, and what they're going to do. You already know something's going to happen. There's going to be another false flag. There's always a pre. There's always a pre. There's always a buildup. So these next, everything's going to be tense, right? This is the 2 weeks of tense. Everybody's going to get a heart attack, because now what's been told, instead of one person dying, there are 4 people dying, right? So now what's going to happen? What are we going to do with the inauguration? What's going to happen here? And you know what's going to happen? Somebody's going to lash on out. Somebody's going to do something unruly. Because if you've noticed in the context of everything, there were what? Pipe bombs found all throughout DC, but they didn't explode, right? There are pipe bombs found. So they're building up the context. You understand? They have to build up the scenario and the situation to have people emotionally charged and invested. Well, oh my goodness, there's 4 people that died, and there's pipe bombs. And with the pipe bombs and 4 people, it could have been so much worse, right? So you want to know, they have to make sure that emotional reaction state becomes nebulous. And see, and exactly, it's the shattered union effect that we're seeing. You're right, our Exodus. It's that shattered union effect. But see, the problem is in the shattered union effect. The problem is we've awakened, and that was in 2005. We've awakened. I believe this. At some point, they're going to use martial law. It's just, how will that stack up against us? What will they say for us? You never know. You may have something from the African Union saying, listen, if you ever want these resources to build you on up, because in the news there's a 15,000 mile per hour rocket test that Russia was getting ready to do. Listen, at 15,000 miles per hour, it would be here in the United States within like 3 or 4 minutes. Something ridiculous, something insane. It only take 3 or 4 minutes to from wherever they launch in Russia to get to the United States. That's the estimates. Probably quicker than that. But these are the things that will occur because you're now starting to see the emotional reaction that's assigned to it. And so when things are emotionalized, guess what? They're going to say, well, don't you feel for this country? They're going to come to us saying that. Don't you care about this country? Don't you want this country to survive? And we're saying, listen, you already know the issues about this country. Why are you looking at us? Why are you looking at us? We already knew that this thing was coming to this point because why? Because we woke up. When did you wake up? I woke up in 2016, October. So the Most High gave me literally 4 years and change. And a lot of folks woke up in that same era, 2015, 2014, 2017. Because you want to know why? Because we're talking about this. I mean, there's over 200 people in the chat right now listening. And it's not because we're saying all this, well, it's prophecy today, and we're gonna do all this stuff and what. No, this isn't any type of Jack Van Impe mess going on. It's not. So you want to know what's actually happening? And Brother Christian, he, shout out to him, Truth Ministries, Brother Christian, he put this on my mind. And this was and he sent me an email, and it was a white guy. He was driving and he said, listen, I don't know this, but this needs to be said to these white folks on out here. This is a white guy saying this. And he said, hey, the true Negroes are really the Israelites. He said, and they are the tribe of Judah. And this is what we have here in America. And what was going on was that, see, you have to understand, if what we were saying was totally a lie, was totally fabricated, had totally made no type of sense at all, then why would Congress declare in HR 1242, which was also signed off by the president, that we have been here for 400 years, that those Negroes that they had walking down the plank in Hampton, Virginia, at Point Comfort, that those black folks there were Negroes from the tribe of Judah, that they knew where that Dutch ship, that Spanish ship, was taking those prisoners. Oh, that's a good crop. They're from there. All right, let me fetch them on up and bring them on over to Americas, because that's what we're looking for. We were the commodity. Why do you think they had a slave coast, a gold coast, an ivory coast? The slaves, Judah's right there. Those Lancados, whatever them Portuguese, them Spanish that ran down there, they made it over there. They wanted to be a little in that interior. Why? Because they knew something was coming. They weren't just going to stop. They were going to keep going and going and going. And here's the thing. That's the same position that they're taking. See, once Trump let that out in the air, mark your calendars. The war started less than 24 hours ago. It actually started at about, I would say, 12:20 Eastern Standard Time. 12:20 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time on January 6th. Because they literally had that muster. And that muster was on national TV, on Fox News. They had a little bit on CNN. They were talking about it. But it didn't really matter who was playing it. What mattered was that media that had presented the message had basically given the execution order. Okay? It gave that execution order. And when that execution order went on out, they're now mobilizing. Family, it's going to be really interesting this weekend. It really is going to be very interesting this weekend. You're going to see a lot of things happening. And you know where it's going to be at. It's basically going to be in DC. DC is going to be where they're going to try to, I got to maintain control. We have to maintain control. Because why? It's a paralysis. That's part of war. That's part of conflict. All right, I'm going to paralyze what you're trying to do, because if you can't do what you're designed to do, then guess what? It's a paralysis. And now you have to negotiate, not with me, but you now have to negotiate with Donald to get things back to normal. And what they're going to say is, no, we had free and fair elections. Who cares about the cheating? If you're not cheating, right, you're not trying to win. You're not playing the game if you're not trying to cheat. Something, that crazy nonsense that they'll sometimes use. Yeah, and see, no, you're right, woman of God. See, yeah, you're still going to have the senators objecting after all this. Yeah, no, there's no kidding, because you have to understand. No, the order went out. This thing is not going to be diffused. Yeah, and here's the thing. Yeah, you're right. Trump announced that HR 1242, late 2017. Yeah. Late 2017. And now here we are. Because that was the nation that's getting ready to get judged declaring themselves. Just because people didn't want to pay attention to it didn't mean that they didn't say it. You know what I'm saying? Just because they had people saying this, it has been where we're on at. They declared it. They said it. They did it. And now we are seeing those actions, those results. Because remember, Egypt's heart was really hardened up until they got to about the seventh or eighth plague. And that's when the Egyptians were saying, hey, Pharaoh, just let these folks go. You want to know what that means in the context of when you're actually reading the Bible? That was the Egyptians really conceding, hey, we've done them wrong. Let's just have them leave. Come on, Pharaoh, this is too much. We've done them wrong. Let's have them leave. And now you're starting to see the same thing when you saw HR 1242. We've done them wrong, but guess what? Who can stop us? It's a different heart. That's why this thing was going to be even more powerful, because there was more of a heart assigned to it, because now the whole world, satellites, cable, internet, the whole world has to see this thing moving. And that's where we are at in this time frame. That's where we're at in this era. So when we're declaring all this stuff going on, when we're declaring all these things happening, it wasn't that we were just, well, it makes me feel good. I like the subscriptions. I like the subscribers. No, I didn't look. Okay. Amen. Hallelujah. So be it. If this wasn't going to work on out, then guess what? Then the Most High would tell me, hey, Karis, go back to work. I got something for you right now. I got a job for you right now. I got this stuff for you right now. It's over. Haha. All good. Peace. But I knew something was coming in my heart. I said, Father, I'm qualified to have any job. I can do what I need to do. That these jobs were there. I said, because I want to actually get to the point that I can work with Brother Robert and start getting into these homes. But see, the Most High had a different plan for me. He had a different agenda for me. And I'm like, oh, okay, Father, you want me to wait. You want me to wait. You want me to wait. But it's interesting, because now you're starting to see people are nervous today. If you're working, if you're in your jobs, if you're looking online, if you're seeing how these folks are talking on the media, if you see how they're talking on Facebook, if you see how they're talking on YouTube, they're nervous. And that nerve and that nervousness, they know that this thing isn't over. Oh, well, we're getting calm. We're getting calm. No, they know that this thing is not over. And yeah. So this is where we're at. Look, it doesn't matter. White folks, black folks, Hispanic folks, Native American folks, it doesn't matter. This is where we're at. This is where we are going to in this nation. We're already there. The bus is pulled up. Now people are getting off the bus. Yeah, this is nowhere near over. And see, they're trying to tell you that it's over because you want to know what Babylon does? Babylon is confusion, family. That's all Babylon simply means. Confusion, a mixing thereof. So Babylon's confusion, guess what? That was just Trump being Trump. 4 people died, not a big deal. It's good. We're fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's back to normal. And see, that's what they're trying to project. And we're not near or far. We are far from normal. We're nowhere near normal. What this actually should tell you all, that you better have some cans and canned goods and other necessities that you'll need, because listen, I don't know how much longer we'll have access to these type of platforms. This is really what you need to start understanding. Now, see, Eric Tinsley, we're not just at the beginning of the birth pangs. Listen, we're in full out labor. Listen, the water's done broke. The water's done broke. And now, look, we're now in the breathing, okay? It's hard breathing, because you want to know why? Because these folks, they're faint. You want to know why they're faint? Because when you're showing on up to multiple capitals throughout the nation, not just in DC, but other states. Do you want to know what that does? It starts to become a drain on your resources. Think about this, family. If this is now a drain on your resources, so let me get back to the step of when you start to get into an insurgency. Okay, an insurgency is something that nobody wants to handle, because you want to know what happens in insurgency? The markets collapse. The markets will systematically collapse because nobody wants to go on outside and participate in anything when there's bombs and stuff going on. When you can't even be in your own home without an explosion 400 or 500 feet away. They're already telling you the game plan. You know, when they show you that stuff in the media, oh, there's pipe bombs, there's pipe bombs. No, they're already giving you that game plan. When you see the man that suicided himself with a vehicle-borne IED, an improvised explosive device in an RV, he's showing you. He was showing everybody this is what this thing is going to look like. This thing isn't going to be a Beirut. This thing ain't going to be a Syria. This thing is going to be far worse. And why? Because this is what they're saying. Listen, folks, this is what they're saying. Because now you all have accepted your fate in the complicity of the fraud. This is why they were so keen about stopping the steal, about fighting hard for America. And this is why I tell you, don't get involved in this, because they're going to try to listen, family. And someone had just posted this. Oh, this was a good one. I think it was like Jeremiah 20 or Ezekiel 20. It was on Facebook. I'll have to look at that. And they said, a lot of folks, when we get up on out of here, a lot of folks won't leave. A lot of folks won't leave. And that's just because their hearts have been seared. Well, this is my home. This is where I was born. This is what I know. This is the only thing I know. And they don't care. These things will be smoldering, nuclear radiation, biological radiation, won't even be able to drink the water. But this is it. I'm going to stay. Africa then contracted with Spain and France and Italy. And, they got cruise ships coming on in, picking us on up. We can travel there, a buffet, all you can eat. Then you're going to drop us on off, then they're going to chauffeur us to these old places, get us together, get all of our money taken care of in these tribunals, get our reparations back in our country, and then we can start building. No, I want to stay. This is my land. This is where I'm at. Tariq Nasheed said so. Dane Calloway said so. This is me. Do you not see that tree glows at night? That's radiation. No. Look, do you not see Dr. Shimbori right there on the news, the little emergency channels pleading with us to get on the ships, pleading with us? Do you not see them waving the little palm leaves, asking for us to come home, saying, "We know you're Judah. Come on home, Judah. Come on. And if you love Judah, if you're cool with Judah and you love us, come on, stranger, come on." Can't do it. Nope. And look, and that's what we're gonna see. That's what we're gonna see. Because you got to understand, this is what's going to happen next. And they know what's going to happen next is we need to get Black folks emotionally involved in this. Because see, look, Black folks want to fight for this country. No matter how much we've killed them and they know that they're not going to get anything, they're still involved. They're still on out there. And it's going to be like, No. You're not going to get me showing on up. Oh, yeah, yeah. American skin. Yeah, and that's right. You got to understand. Oh, man, that's the script. Thank you for bringing that out, Brother G. That's the script. Get your behinds on out there, and guess what? You're gonna get some reparation. Everybody's gonna get a free bucket of KFC extra crispy. Oh, get that free bucket of the Generals. They're gonna reel Billy D. Williams out of a nursing home somewhere. All right, black folks. You know me, and you know I love my Colt 45. But there's more than the Colt 45 when you have a nice bucket of some extra crispy chicken. Get your coupon right now to get that chicken and that butter biscuit. You know what I'm saying? Look, that's some chicken with butter biscuits and some Colt 45. Now, without some St. Ides, I'd be up and in there. You had me thinking for a minute. Yeah, Sean Simpson. Yeah, Sean Simpson. Y'all darkies need to get on in there and save your white masters from themselves. Get up on in there. Nah, we're good. We're good. We're gonna sit this one on out. What is that? It's the Brewster's Millions. We're gonna do that Brewster's Millions concept. None of the above. Oh man. No, and you're gonna yeah, Jericho juice and all. Yep, you're right. Wheeling out Billy D. Williams. Him and Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey like, come on now. You didn't fight for this thing. Well, Steve, didn't you move to South Africa? I'm not talking about that. These folks are going to have green screens and everything else on. I'm in downtown Cleveland. That's a virtual background. Can't you do better than that? Man. And they think that they're going to fool us too. That's really the laugh. That's really the comedy. They're going to be coming on out here like, well, you'll be walking in the grocery store. Hey, brother, don't you want to fight for your freedom? Don't you want to retake back all this stuff that they done stole from you? I mean, no, you mean you done stole from me? Y'all done stole from me? You need to encapsulate yourself in that one. Oh, don't worry about that. That's just here or there. We're fighting for freedom. Oh, and here's your reparations. We call it the reparations meal ticket. The meal ticket to freedom. Oh, thanks, you masters. I appreciate you. Oh, man. Because they're going to do it. They're going to say, oh, you know what? Our polling has suggested that if we tell black people that they do this and they do that, they will fight for us. And look, we've looked at that and we've analyzed it. We need them to fight. We need them in there. Oh, man. Oh, so yes, family. That's what's really going to go on, and that's the con game that they're going to see, because you got to remember, they have to have the front end that, look, everything is fine when we get killed and murdered the way that we've been going, and see, now we're going to be brainwashed enough to step on into there and continue doing the same things that we've been doing for the last 400 years. Now, the problem that they're encountering is that there's now Black people waking up, but here is the real interesting scenario that they never accounted for. A lot of the younger a lot of the younger white folks are actually waking up, and they're getting on out there and TikTok, and they're making these videos, and they're showing these videos, and they're saying like, look, they're the people. This is what's happened. This is why it's happening. So, so you have to understand there comes a point that logic and reason start to overshadow and overwhelm emotionalism. And see, a lot of these folks, these white folks that are younger, the younger generation of our white counterparts. Thank you, Keith Williams, for the gift. I appreciate it. They're seeing this. See, you got to remember, they had looked at September 11th, where it's you over emotionalize and you overemphasize, and guess what happened? You literally took away my wealth that we had, and we have to start seeing things in terms of how this actual situation is. And this is really the X factor that they didn't understand, is because a lot of us have seen that, yeah, this is what's happening. Yeah. A lot of us have seen, well, we're talking about it. We already know what the truth is. And guess what was happening? As we were talking about it, understanding the truth, then the world was trying their hardest to say, no, that's not it. That's not happening. And everything was just happening according to scriptures. And so now when it was, well, we don't really want to recognize this 400 years. We don't want to do this. And we're telling them, look, we don't care what you want. We don't care about any debates that you want to bring on out here. Because pretty soon you're not going to have a position to debate. How many here? Think about this, family. Thank you, Contending for the Faith. I appreciate it. Hallelujah. Think about this, family. What will UA and those folks be doing when they're forced to be conscripted? Well, I don't want to fight. Let's debate about this fight. Should we really be doing this? Because if we're doing this, that falls into the 400-year argument. And if it falls into the 400-year argument, then guess what we're doing? We're actually incentivizing this 400 years. Pick up that rifle. I'm going to shoot you in the head. Okay. Debate's over. It's... And we're just on over there looking at them like, we told you. You're seeing this. Are you going to be debating that? These images on the news? And it happens to be 400 years later. And it's not going to be any of us doing any type of taunts or threats. You know what we're going to be doing? Sitting back and watching. Sitting back and looking. And that's where we have always known what was happening. See, for them, when they're in that carnal response, they don't understand how the spiritual thing is working at all. And it's real easy to try to play tit for tat when you're working in a carnal. Well, I don't believe it, and I don't believe that because scripture says here and scripture says there and that and that. Well, then explain what's happened in the rest of the world. It always happens. I don't believe it's 400 years. Okay, then explain this. It always happens. Okay, did Iran always have a navy like that 100 years ago? No, because it was under the control of the British Empire. Did Africa act like that 100 years ago? No, because it was dominated by the European nations. And now all of a sudden, they're saying, hey, we're standing up on our own. We got our own money. We got our own free trade agreement. We don't need y'all. All at this specific time? Really? And then that's where a lot of us, we have to see this. We have to get focused on these things. We have to have that proper understanding and context. Because now we used to say, you just pray about it because, the Most High is going to deliver. The Most High is going to show you how this thing works. He's going to show you how this thing moves. No, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to do it. Now it's look, now this is life or death. Remember, for them, once blood is shed, guess what happens? They have to shed more blood. They've got to shed more blood. I looked at it, when I was looking at Rosewood the other day, and I didn't realize that Rosewood, that wasn't just a, like a night, how sometimes Hollywood would glamorize and glorify, those scenes. And, it would be, well, it happened like one night, or it happened one day, or, something like that. But when I looked at the movie, because I tell people, I'm not that far from that area. It's about, maybe for me, about an hour and a half, maybe, because it's only like 30 minutes from my mom in Gainesville, Florida. So I'll take the drive on down there and just take a look, because what happened, it took a matter of actually 2 weeks. It was about 2 weeks, and then it was the buildup of 2 weeks. And it wasn't that people didn't know about it throughout the state. They rang and they said, okay, well, the governor knows. This is in the movies. The governor knows, but guess what? All the other communities are like, no, don't bring that here. And the funny thing is, even in the movie, it's like, hey, don't bring that here because we like our coloreds, we like our people, we care for our people, and they were getting mad. Wait, why are you doing that? You're betraying us. You're betraying this code that we have. It's an understanding. And then basically when the movie had all went, it was, well, the allegations, the typical allegations, that this we all know that it was your wife that did all this stuff, and here it is. But you have to understand, it doesn't matter, because the code is so strong that that's where the blood, that carnal, reaches on out. And it's hard to really go after and defeat something in a carnal manner, because if you don't have a spiritual power in you from the Most High, if you aren't operating in the Holy Spirit, yeah. So thank you, Catherine. Thank you. This is what I'm really trying to say. This is what I'm really trying to say. Family, how we had our George Floyd moment. They had their George Floyd moment yesterday. Do you hear what I'm telling you, family? Do you hear what I'm telling you, family? They had it. See, that thing was circulated, publicized, shown. And I look at it as, that's the blood that Trump has on his hands. But they look at it as, no, that's the sacrifice that she made for this country. Ooh. That's the blood that she had to spill for this country. And see, we look at that, we're looking at it like how they're looking at George Floyd. Thank you for bringing that up, Catherine, because that's a great analogy. Because see, a lot of us, we weren't understanding how this thing goes outside of this community. And I'm trying to explain this to you, and I'm glad that this exemplifies it. This exemplifies it. Because this is what was being shown to the nation. The rest of the world doesn't care. The rest of the world's like, nah, y'all need to get back to business in terms of what your responsibilities are. And your responsibilities are making sure we're asleep. This isn't good for business. We're not sleeping. We're now up. We're now saying we're Israel. We're now up. We're now saying we're Judah. Rome doesn't like that. Pope doesn't like that. Get back. And that's where we're seeing this stuff going on. Look, Trump never conceded anything. He never laid down anything. He just did some little words, but he still had his intent. His intent is she died for freedom. And if she does it, what are you going to do about it? Do you understand? That's what's being said right now. And I can't make this stuff up. I can't make this stuff up because it's not a physical problem. It's not a carnal problem at this point. At this point, it's a spiritual problem. At this point, it's a spiritual problem. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You better get ready because you're going to see a lot of congregations, Eurocentric churches on over here, preaching the same message. Oh, you don't think that this hornet's nest got kicked? They're stomping on it and they're rolling around in it like it's a football. Yep, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Some will say she laid down her life for Trump. Oh, man. Family, is this getting too meaty for you? Do y'all need a break on this? Because this is this starting to get real? And now people are saying, where do I go? What do I do? Excuse me. And that's where we are sitting at. That's how we're seeing all these things showing up. And see, the problem is we know now way too much. It's no longer effective. That message wasn't effective with us. Even the voting, it wasn't effective with us. And they already will know, and they don't want to tell you this, but that was one of the most historically low numbers that we participated in a vote. It was the highest non-participant rate that they've had in an election by us. And that's where we're seeing all these things happen. We're seeing this thing shape up. We didn't say this stuff just to say it, just to cause division and consternation. Ha ha, y'all are gonna die. Ha ha, y'all are gonna get it. Look at that. No, we were saying this because you want to know why? First to the Judean, Yehudi, Yeti. Then to the what? The Gentile. Because there's an order to these things. Okay, now we're done explaining this order. Here comes judgment. Okay, now they're seeing this. Here comes strife. Okay, now they're seeing this. Here comes conflict. But you all are a hate group. I'm sorry, I don't know how many words have killed somebody when I'm trying to give them the truth. You must hate me. I love eating 5,000 cheeseburgers a day. You can keep that up, but you're going to die pretty quickly. Oh, no, I'm not. You hate me. I love smoking, 15 vials of crack every day. No, you're going to die pretty quickly. You're going to overdose. No, you hate me. And I say those silly anecdotes and analogies because that's exactly what it is. It's like, look, if you stay on a railroad track, I hope you saw that in my thumbnail yesterday. I do thumbnails for a reason. There's because a picture is really worth 1,000 words, and I do those thumbnails just like the thumbnails today when these folks are scaling stuff. All that reminded me was when they had scaled the palace in Iraq in 2003 in that invasion. The people were scaling to get to the National Library, and they stole those artifacts. They said, I ain't showing y'all nothing. I ain't showing y'all that there are some Judeans here. I ain't showing y'all that there are some Israelites here. Those folks, those things are dug down in the earth somewhere. There's some holes, some ditches. They become a family heirloom for almost 20 years. And that is true. Look, they don't shed that's in Revelations, I believe. Revelations 18. I wasn't going to go heavy on the word today because I wanted to go heavy on in terms of the tactics and being and how to understand that contemporarily. We all know Revelations 18. Listen, if you need to read a Bible, get the Bible app. Google that while I'm here. But we know that. Look, for them, look, I'm not, I sit as a queen. I'm not going to lose my children. I'm not going to lose my son or my daughters. And you see this happening right now. It's happening right now. Now they're trying to regroup in terms of saying, look, we're calming everything down. And you know who it is. Their audience, especially when you have CNN, the audience for CNN is basically older Black folks. Because the older Black folks are the ones that have to be calmed down, because if not, they're going to go into a panic mode. And if they go into a panic mode, then they're going to start talking to their families about panic modes. And then here's the thing. Actually, white folks will listen to the older Black people and say, oh, there's really a problem. That's how that goes. CNN, or excuse me, Fox News and MSNBC, those ones, they go to, obviously Fox News is the right wing, and MSNBC, that's the left. Those are the corridors. And what you're seeing there, well, Trump wasn't wrong, and he's going to have a transition peaceful, but he's not wrong. So then, what's the problem? It never got denounced. There was no type of denunciation. And all it was a more of an affirmation. And then on MSNBC, that's obviously ultra left. Hey, we can't let this stain of democracy go without going unanswered. That's what they like to say. It has to be answered. There has to be an answer. There has to be something. There has to be this. And that strikes up the cue words for their alt left folks. And yeah, RT News was clowning. on America. They said, "Look, y'all are garbage. Don't talk to anybody about democracy. Look at this mess." Yeah, they're trying to do Newsmax and AON or whatever because Fox had been labeled, the alt right channel, and they didn't like that. So that all that stuff is now on out there. It hasn't been yeah, democracy now is pretty good, but they're definitely left. They're a little bit more unfiltered in terms of the message and the programming. Yeah, and that's what we're seeing. Yeah, everybody's radicalizing, everybody's radicalizing that is let me just say this. Everybody's radicalizing that's basically non-melanated, if I can say that. So for lack of better words. Basically, if you're white, you're getting into your camps. The family, somebody's there cleaning off their rifles, their shotguns, their pistols. Don't go to that family reunion and you have the wrong flag. What are you doing with that Trump flag? We're Biden's over here. Huh? You're gonna step on your aunt's property and get shot in the face. Oh, that was Trump 2016. 2020, no, forget that. I still didn't scrape that bumper sticker off. My bad. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's getting on out there. It's getting on out there. And yes, B1 Queensland. Yeah, they're all demanding the 25th Amendment be invoked. And that's another thing that I wanted to touch on, because it's an aspect of an emotionalism. Oh, they're trying to get Trump out of office. Look, he's correct. Look at the conspiracy, because he's trying to get them out of office, and now America got mortgaged to China. And I can't let those Chinese take on over. Not on my watch. But I'll deal with the Russians, but I can't let the Chinese. All this foolishness. But that's really the context. If we can get Trump out of office, it only lessens the impact that he would have. And I would say this. I would say it's really too little too late, because really the damage is done. The word's gone out. And you have to remember, family, this thing isn't just with. Here's the crazy thing, family. This thing is not just with the civilian population. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's not just with the civilian population. This also has implications in the military population. You want to know how a coup was really done and how they did that back in the Night of the Knives? A lot of military folks got killed. They got summarily executed as being traitors to the nation. And then that's when Hitler's Reich had taken over. So don't think that that's a far-fetched novel idea from what we're seeing right now. Don't think, oh, that's never going to happen. And then, whole bunch of overnight, there was a coup at the Pentagon. This is why they're trying. Look, these folks are literally in a civil war right now as we speak. We're commentating on those actions possibly happening or developing as we speak. So, yeah, and Ilhan Omar was talking about impeachment, and nobody's going to worry about that for 14 days left. 13 days left. Nobody's talking about that. But you have to understand. See, if that happens, then you understand the military is literally going to be in shambles and shattered because people are going to say, "Well, I signed up to support and defend the Constitution, and I don't know, who's who. Am I going to get killed? Time for me to go." Hey, did you see what happened to Tommy? Yeah, that as soon as that thing happened, all them black dudes. You see what happened? All those black dudes. Look, they got in their cars and they're out. They said you can call us when everything gets worked on out. We're not doing this. And that's crazy. Yeah, it is a whirlwind. It literally is a whirlwind, and I'm gonna put you. Yeah, and you were in Goshen, and that's the thing. Yeah, the Most High is unleashing the whirlwind and the Kraken. Yeah, because these are spiritual matters, and just imagine how quickly that happened yesterday. They were shell shocked. They were shell shocked. Okay, these folks are going on over, and there's white folks. It's a majority white crowd. They're going on over, and the police are like, we're not designed to literally stop you like we're designed to stop black people because that's you understand some things that don't really have to be said. You hear me? Some things really don't have to be said, but they are they're innuendo, right? It's unwritten. Okay, well, I listen, all my training, even when I do the little tactical dummy and I do the target practice, I'm always practicing on a Jerome or an Antoine. So when I have Bill and Phil and Carl here, this thing doesn't compute. It doesn't compute. And you saw that on their faces. You literally saw that they were astonished. It was an astonishment. What do we do? Well, they're breaching the Capitol. Yeah, but they're white. Are they inside? Yeah, they're inside. What do we do? Hide? And these folks are literally hiding inside, and they're calling for backup. I don't know what to do. Carl was like, that's the first thing I thought of was, put a Carl Winslow on out there. That black guy, I feel so sorry for that brother right there. I feel so sorry for him. National TV, he had nothing. He couldn't go nowhere. Done was fumbling the nightstick. I'm only designed to beat Jerome with the knuckle gloves and the jerry curl. That's my little beating dummy. Oh, man. Who took him out? The man. That's all I could think of was the Undercover Brothers scene. The man took him out. That dude was just gripped in fear. He was gripped in fear. He didn't even know how his arms were moving. He said, my right arm got attached to my left socket. I don't even know how to move. And then he turns around. He's like, I'm out. Run. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm sorry, fam. I shouldn't be laughing so hard at that. But when they came on in there all super slow, like if you wanted to really start fighting, you could have started blasting them. like just started laying them on out. This dude didn't even try to swing. He said they just came on in there all slow and clumsy. He had no type of a fighting or defensive position. And these fools are just on in there. They've been drinking too. They got the liquid courage all in there. Oh man. So you could have laid out like 2 or 3, had like some sort of a defense. But this my dude was shell shocked. Oh lordy, oh lordy. There's too many of them whites men's on over there. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Back up, back up, back up. I'm dropping my nightstick. I can't even. This dude pulled a Martin. Gina! This dude pulled a Martin. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I don't think he realized he was caught on tape. That thing was worldwide. Oh. And you want to know what? That gave all the white supremacists the ammo. Oh man, these boys in blue, they totally cooned out. They've totally cooned out. Yeah, we got them. Because why? Because see, we have shown them they're not designed to fight us. They're not designed to enforce laws against us or the rule of law towards us. And if confronted in that situation, they are forced to run. Oh man. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Oh man, that dude made all black people around the world look terrible." Yeah, we're gonna talk tough and fight our own, and it's like, yeah, that's what happens to y'all. That's that boys in the hood moment. That's that boys in the hood moment. And that's really where it was sad, because now here's the thing: how many of them have that type of personality, and they're basically going to be rendered useless? They're rendered ineffective. Because he's, unfortunately, he was caught on camera. But he wasn't the only one. That's what they did. They didn't even have to push. They're just like, poof. they just blew it in his direction. They blew in my man's direction, and he was Usain Bolt up them steps. I'm out of here. When he was more concerned about the steps and not tripping on them steps than the people going in, getting them congressmen, he was more concerned about the people on the steps. That's a shame. That's a shame. He said, yes, Yahuwah's kingdom. Yeah, what we call white fright. Oh man, that dude looked like a minstrel show. That dude looked like a Keystone Cop minstrel show. I wouldn't have been surprised if he just started doing like the little ping pong, the ding, 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 and then just what happens when the ball messes up? Tilt. But he certainly hit that tilt. He said, "I'm out of here. I'm gone." I'm gone. And you know what that means? It shows, we're laughing about this. It's really not a laughing matter. It's really not a laughing matter because now that shows, look, they're not willing to die to defend this. They're not willing to give up their life to defend this. This is what we are doing. This is, and you know what they're saying? This is our God given right. We got to defend this nation. This is a call to arms. Call to arms. Why? Because you see that? Black folks aren't trying to fight for this. White folks aren't going to shoot other white folks. No. You understand? They literally sit here and they watch these images and they're becoming more emboldened. They're becoming more emboldened. So they're thinking, oh yeah, it's all over. We got everything coming down. We got all the stuff together. No, these folks are like, all right, I'm at Dick's Sports right now. I'm at the Armory right now. I'm getting my ammo right now. I'm loading in my magazines, my clips. We going in there. We doing damage. Because why? Because they were a pushover. Because here's the thing, they can talk as much as they want. Yeah, and so they're gonna try and say, hey, in fact, you wanna join us? Please, in fact, please don't join. Please don't join. But I've already kind of suspected that for a while, that they're probably going to be used as an auxiliary unit for Trump. You've already seen that the man was a former Secret Service agent. He was on out there. Oh yeah, he got arrested for 6 hours. He got quote unquote thrown in jail. Yeah, they probably just said, all right, chill up on in here. You want some snacks, some refreshments? You want a couple movies? You want to chill? Get that persona built on up. Yeah, and that's why, yeah, their first lighter who was killed as a veteran. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening. See, we don't see as black folks. Let me just explain this. As black folks, we don't really understand the actual program. What's happening? We get told kind of the inner shell, right? We just see the orange rind. We're not even talking about the flesh, right? We're just looking at we don't even know the pit in that peach. We're just looking at the skin. We're not seeing all the stuff that's happening. Yeah, well, I don't see. That's the thing. I really believe that Trump will create the anarchy and the Sydney area stuff, and then he'll probably retreat to Florida. I don't doubt that because nobody's going to touch him here. And I would say you would probably have a lot of southern states not concede, or secede, in that hard stance, but they'll probably say, we have to divest and some interest. We're not pulling away completely from the United States, but we have to kind of look at, what's best for our interest. That's what's going to happen, family. You already know that that's what we're headed toward. And so that's really the hold that Trump has on the people right now. He's literally divided the nation. It's literally a divide. So you're going to have your Northeast, and then you'll have your South and your Midwest, and then that alienates the West Coast. So they know um, that's what's been happening. Yeah, and we know media isn't allowed to report most news. So this is why you have I'm not really that news reporter. I'm not that type of guy that I'm gonna step on Lisa Cabrera's shoes, because Lisa, she does a lot of investigating. She does a lot. So shout out to her, because a lot of this stuff we wouldn't know unless it was her. For me specifically, I wouldn't know a lot of that stuff. And yeah, contending for the faith, that really is what it's going to be. It's going to be a Balkanization. So when they had the former Yugoslavia, it was basically smashed on up. You had Russia, and you had Europe, and you had the United States, which is why you have, the Czech Republic, they, feigning so much towards, Trump, because that's always been kind of their leaning in terms of how Europe had established itself, and how that area had established itself. You had Albania, and you have Serbia, Bosnia, now North Macedonia, Greek, all these little different places. And that's where you saw, they were literally fighting for the last almost 20 years. That was the place you just knew that it was internal conflict. You wouldn't go. And now we're starting to see that. Look, America's starting to look like that. Well, COVID had cut off America. Nobody really wants to come. And certainly a lot of people aren't allowed to go to most places around the world. And this is where we are at in this time. And again, yeah, you're right, Panthers fan. It is predictive programming. And yeah, Lisa Cabrera does bring the heat every. She's on fire every day, because you want to know why? There's just so much material, and the reason that there's so much material is because they keep feeding this to her. Yeah, gave the green card to utilize. Yeah, pharmacies, grocery stores. Yeah, that we already knew that was coming. We already knew that was coming. Oh, Ralph Warnock. I said a black man beat up a what? Oh yeah. In the presidential race, or excuse me, not presidential, in a senatorial race. In a senatorial race. Yeah, so family, I definitely kind of overstayed my welcome, but I just wanted to kind of show you this is what's happening, and this is what we're seeing, and how to recognize what we're going to see in the future. Because again, the game is going to be, what are they going to do? What are they going to give to have us participate? And here's the problem now, family. I'm telling you, the dilemma is we have been able to awaken for this moment. Our awakening wasn't an accident. Our awakening wasn't, we just said out of the blue, oh, I think that we may be the Israelites. I think we may be, the real tribe of Judah. I think, just because, it sounded good. We heard somebody on the street corner. No. Most of our awakening was done by the Holy Spirit saying, you may want to read that Bible again. You may want to look at this again. You may want to see who you are in that scripture as it is today. Because guess what? If you don't get it right now, you're never going to get it. And you will be that unsuspecting sheep going to the slaughter. And it's not that you're unsuspecting. You're just now going to be that ignorant sheep going to the slaughter. Because now everyone has had that opportunity in that time frame to understand what is happening. Yeah, exactly. Now is your time to stock up. Now is your time. You got to get those cans. You got to get things that are self-sustaining. Get those propane tanks. Those little propane cookers. Things of that nature. Get the little water pellets, to the iodine things to clean your water. You have to understand a lot of these things can start quickly deteriorating. It can start quickly deteriorating. So, so with that said, family, I definitely appreciate you all coming on in here. Hopefully, you all learned something, got some edification. 200 plus in the chat. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support this channel, it's been streamed. Um, this the stuff is still moving, it's still fluid, so we just have to continue to ask the Most High to lead us and guide us and to protect us. Okay, we need to be covered under the blood of Yahusha. All right, that's what we need. That's where that's what's needed in this hour. We don't need to do anything that they're doing. We don't need to get emotionalized in this conflict that they're trying to get towards. All right, because it's been building and it's been building, and now really it's here. All right, and if you don't see that it's here, then guess what? I'm still praying for you. All right. So, family, with that said, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Peace and blessings, Israel.